Hola, and welcome to this first Spanish class for beginners. When we embark on the journey of learning a new language, the first essential step is acquiring a set of words to build sentences and initiate communication. To kickstart this process, we're going to introduce you to 3 magical words. These words will serve as the key to unlocking a vast world of vocabulary. Let's dive right in. The first of these magical words is the word que, which means what. For now, let's set aside the accent marks. We'll dive into them a bit later. Now, pay attention to the letters Q, U in Spanish. Unlike in English, where Q, U often sounds like Q, in Spanish it sounds like a K. Repeat after me, please. Que. Don't be shy. It's essential to start speaking the new language right from the beginning. Let's try again. Que. The second word we're going to learn is the word es, which means is. Just like in English, es belongs to one of the most important and versatile verbs in Spanish. We'll explore it in depth in future classes. But for now, remember that es is one way to translate the English is. Here's a pronunciation tip. Notice that in Spanish, vowels and most letters are always pronounced the same way. So the E in que sounds exactly like the E in es. This consistency is a great feature of the Spanish language that makes learning it, especially reading, much easier. Our third Spanish word is esto. Esto means this, neuter. In Spanish, many words have different genders, but for now, all you need to know is that esto is used to refer to objects. Please avoid using it to refer to people, as it could be considered impolite. Pay attention to the way we pronounce the letter O. It's similar to the O sound in the English word box. As for the ST sound in esto, you shouldn't encounter any difficulties because English also has this sound combination in words like star or first. Let's repeat the word once more. Esto. Now, let's combine the 3 words to create our first sentence. ¿Qué es esto? Please repeat after me. ¿Qué es esto? Now, all together. ¿Qué es esto? This sentence means, what is this? And with it, we can inquire about the names of various objects just by pointing. So, with just 3 words and a Spanish speaker to ask, we can expand our vocabulary significantly. Quite impressive for 3 simple words, don't you think? Let's practice this important sentence. You can point to different objects around you and become familiar with its meaning. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? One last note. In Spanish, unlike in English, we use double question marks. One at the beginning of the interrogative sentence and one at the end. Now, let's practice by asking about the names of different objects that will appear on the screen. ¿Qué es esto? I hope you're saying this sentence out loud. Eso es un libro. Please repeat after me. Eso es un libro. Now, all together. Eso es un libro. Observe that the first word, eso, is slightly different from esto. It is pronounced eso. In Spanish, we use esto, this, when the pointed thing is closer to the speaker than to the listener, and eso, that, when it's closer to the listener than to the speaker. As for the second word, it's already familiar. Do you remember? Es, is. The other two words are un, like a, masculine in English, and libro, which means book. Notice that the structure of the sentence in Spanish is exactly the same as in English. This is a book. Esto es un libro. You might encounter some difficulty with pronouncing the Spanish R, especially after the letter B as in libro. The Spanish R is certainly stronger than the English R, so I recommend exaggerating it at the beginning. Let's practice. Libro, libro, libro. Now, let's repeat the whole sentence. Eso es un libro. Let's introduce some other objects. Ask what the following objects are in Spanish. Remember, when the image appears on screen, you must ask, ¿Qué es esto? What's this? And I will tell you how it is said in Spanish. You will also be able to see the way it's written. Eso es una mesa. Observe that this time we have used una instead of un. The word una is like a, feminine in English. So we say un when the following word is masculine and una when the following word is feminine. Of course, mesa is feminine. That's why we use una instead of un. I'll repeat the sentence. Eso es una mesa. Now let's continue with the next image. Remember that you have to ask, ¿Qué es esto? Eso es un bolígrafo. Eso es una silla. Depending on the region, there are variations in how the double L is pronounced in Spanish. However, we will concentrate on the most commonly used pronunciation, which is very similar to the J sound in the English word enjoy, but somewhat softer. Listen. Silla. Silla. Eso es un teléfono. Your turn. Now I will ask you about the same objects and you will have to say what they are. In Spanish, of course. But before, let's work on pronouncing words correctly by understanding stress patterns in Spanish. I'll share 2 pronunciation tips. 1. If a word ends with a vowel N or S, the stress falls on the second to last syllable. 2. If a word ends with a consonant other than N or S, the stress falls on the last syllable. Additionally, if the stress falls on any other syllable or doesn't follow these rules, it is indicated by an accent mark. Let's put this into practice. Notice that this word ends with a vowel, A, and has no accent mark, so the stress falls on the second to last syllable. Say it with me. Mesa. Now, on screen will appear the same 5 objects. I will ask you, ¿qué es esto? And you must say, eso es, and the name of the object in Spanish. Don't forget the article. A for masculine, un. A for feminine, una. Let's go. ¿Qué es esto? 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 Great job today! In this class, we've covered the fundamentals of asking questions and forming sentences in Spanish. We started with just 3 simple words, ¿qué es esto? What is this? And now you can use them to ask about the names of objects. We also delved into pronunciation, stressing the importance of understanding stress patterns in Spanish words. Before we conclude, I encourage you to practice what you've learned. Try asking ¿qué es esto? About different objects around you and remember the stress patterns we discussed. As you continue your Spanish learning journey, keep these basics in mind, and you'll be well on your way to becoming proficient in this beautiful language. Thank you for joining this class, and I look forward to see you in our next session. Hasta luego. See you later.